Good morning. This is Miss Hodges coming on. It is Monday, May 11, and I'm coming on to do today's live video. And after today, you guys have a full week of school this week, a full week of school next week, and then just a couple of days, and then you will be done with 5th grade, which is crazy. So I am coming on right now, and we are going to continue the work with writing that we've done last week. However, this week is going to be insane. And so I wanted to share with you some of the things going on. Good morning for teachers and students, and to tell you our plan this week. So today is a very awesome day because Miss Stewart and I and Miss Sumner and multiple teachers were invited to interview teachers for next year. So that means I am helping interview teachers at 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock. So if I am interviewing teachers and doing that, that means I am not doing conferences today. I am not available for conferences because I'm going to be on the video interviews. So if you have a conference scheduled for today, I am not doing that for anybody because our interviews are back to back to back to back all day long. So I'm going to leave you a task here with instructions to do today. And then we're going to continue the writing tomorrow, because tomorrow I'm available to do my live video and answer questions. I don't want to give you guys work and then disappear and not be able to help you. I don't feel like that's really fair. So if you have not turned in your story from Friday, this is a really great opportunity to turn in your story from Friday and make sure you're caught up. But I am not going to continue the writing today because, again, I don't want to give you writing and then you guys have questions and me not be able to help you. So tomorrow I'm going to be picking up with writing. You guys can text me today because the thing with video chat is I'm looking at you guys right now, but if you guys text me, I can look down at my phone, even if we're doing interviews. So that is actually a really great point Lewis just made, is if you guys run into some help that you need today, I can't do conferences, but you can text me, and in my interview, I'll text you back or I'll make a point to call you if I'm available. It's going to be really tight today. But yep, always you can text me if I'm not able to take a call. Some other things this week. Friday, all the teachers have to have their classrooms packed up. So I'm going to be going into level Wednesday, and I'm going to be going into level on Thursday, and I'm going to be going to level on Friday to pack up every single thing in my room, which means, again, I'm not going to be able to be live. So like Lewis said, texting is a great, great way to communicate because I'm going to be cleaning my room. So I'll have my phone with me, but text me on those days, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I have to get my room packed up by Friday. That's the rule for Orange County. And then also, when I'm packing up my classroom, you guys have belongings in the classroom. You guys have journals, you guys have papers, you guys have your book boxes. And so what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be going through book boxes, and I'm going to be taking all your things and making a pile with your name on it. And you guys also have things that belong to me, books. So the big thing I'm thinking about is I'm going to be organizing all of your belongings so that you guys get your journals and you guys get everything. But you guys, I really need you guys to be really diligent and work really hard on returning. If I've given you like paper and notebooks, I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about tablets. If I've loaned you one of my tablets, I'm going to be in contact on when to pick that up. But also the books that you guys have checked out from me, because those need to go back into the library for next year's group. So that's something to start doing, is looking around your house with books that you're done reading and make a little pile. Okay, all of these need to be returned to Miss Hodges. Later this week, I'm going to be putting a plan together so that you guys can get all your journals. I mean, you guys need that journal. I think you realize now how important it is. We're going to be coming up with a plan so that you can get all your belongings, but also you guys are going to be the responsible ones to return belongings to me. I'm going to answer questions at the very end. So it's okay if you've asked me a few. I'm just going to read that at the end. Something at Level is every day they put out a box, a 5th grade box for people to turn in packets. But instead of turning in a packet, you guys could turn in my books to that box. That would be awesome. So if your family's going to Level to get food because we're a grab and go site, you can return my belongings that way. That would be awesome. But start thinking about that because I'm going to be thinking about how I can give you your things. So those are the announcements for this week. That's why this week is going to be a little insane. I'm not going to be home. I'm not going to be able to answer calls and make calls like usual I'm not going to be available all day like I have been. I'm going to have to be going to level and I'm going to be working. But you guys are still expected to do the assignment for the day. Okay? So if you text me, I'll be able to tell you your progress report, but the last report card is not going to be done until the end of this month. If our last day of school is May 27, then you guys won't have that grade on the very last day of school. I mean, I'll probably be able to tell you what it is, but today's May 11. I don't have them finished. You guys have a few more assignments I have to grade. So I could tell you your last progress report. I could tell you your report card from the third 9 weeks, but I don't have your final grade yet. Okay. So what is your assignment today? We're going to continue with the writing tomorrow. Some of you guys still have to finish your second trouble story from last week, and that needs to be done today and turned in because that is a grade, last week's story from Friday. But I wanted to actually give you guys something ahead of time. Every year, and you guys know this, I'm all about thinking. I'm all about getting you thinking. I am not, let's just get it done and move on. You know, I like to work fast, but let's pause, let's back up, let's go reread, let's go look at, let's go ask questions. That's important work. So every year, I do a final exam, but it's not like a multiple choice. It's not a reading comprehension. I give a final exam. Okay, Juan, if you text me, then I can do that right after, okay? Or just wait, and I'll do that. At the end of every year, I give my class a final exam, and it's like a survey, but it's more like a reflection. So on Google Drive, let me see if it's uploaded. I uploaded a document that says 5th grade final exam. And so I'm actually going to tell you what your final exam is. And if you can pull up Google Drive, you can pull it up right now and look along with me. So your final exam is multiple questions, 8 questions. It is due May 27. I'm giving it to you early because this is something that's not done in one day. This is something you sit and you think about. Last year I gave my class a whole week to do it, and it took them a whole week. It's a survey type of exam. It is due May 27. Sorry, I'm reading off the top. If you're with me, you can see it. You can type it and turn it in, or you can handwrite it. So you can submit it 2 ways. You can type it all and send it to me, or you can handwrite it. But either way, you have to do complete sentences, and you guys know 5th grade level is multiple paragraphs. So I'm looking for long responses to these questions. You can turn it in before May 27, and if you turn it in before May 27, then I will send it back to you with feedback on how to improve. So that's really important, is if you do a little bit of your final exam each day and you turn it in May 20, that means I will look through it and then I'll get back to you about how to improve your final exam, which is what everyone wants, is how can I get a better grade? That's how, being early. You can use Google Drive. You can collaborate with each other. You guys can call each other and talk to each other. And you guys can use anything from the classroom to help you. So when you look at your final exam, if you go, oh my gosh, I don't know, you can call a friend and talk to a friend about it. You can go to level, and when we have a plan, you can get your belongings from the classroom when I tell you they're ready, and you can use anything on Google Drive. I am going to make what's called a rubric, so that when you look at a rubric, that's going to tell you how to get an A, a B, a C, or a D, or the other one. So I'm going to be putting out a rubric on Google Drive by the end of this week that says, hey, if you want an A, this is what you have to have in your response. So this final exam is really a great opportunity for you guys to get an A, and that will help boost maybe a poor assignment you did or a week of poor participation. So I've already had parents say, hey, I want extra credit in this. This is not extra credit. You have to do this, but you guys will be able to do very well on it. Yep, I'll put the Google Drive link on the chat right now. It's the same link, but no worries. Okay, I'm going to read you the questions, and if you guys have a question, you can type it in. I have 20 minutes before our first interview, so I'm here for a while today. So these questions are all things I've asked you before, and these are all questions that you're going to have to sit and think about. The first question is, how do you think at a 5th grade level? You guys have heard me say that all year long. Because when you guys came to me in August, you guys would say things like, oh, the character's name is Bob. And I would say to you, actually, you have to push yourself to think at a 5th grade level. And I've spent my goal all year has been to teach you how to push your thinking. So the first question is, how do you think at a 5th grade level? What kinds of questions do you ask yourself while reading? What have you learned about digging deep? Share a memory you were proud of yourself for doing this thinking. So that's a lot of little questions, but question 1 is all about thinking and reading at a 5th grade level. Question 2 is about writing. How do you write at a 5th grade level? What kinds of things do you include in your writing? Which strategies will you take next year? So with the writing, it might be awesome to use Google Drive and your journal when your journal is ready. Okay. Question 3, when you sit in your 6th grade classroom next year, your 6th grade language arts classroom next year, how will you make sure you read and write at a 6th grade level? How are you going to push yourself to dig deep? And this is hard because I don't know the language arts teachers at Piedmont or Apopka. I know a science teacher at Apopka, Miss Jolly, shout out, whoop, whoop, she's awesome. But I don't know these language arts teachers, and I don't know how they're going to teach you guys. And so I've made question 3 because when you're in your 6th grade classroom, you know that you have to think even deeper. So that's the point of question 3 is, what are you going to do to make sure you push yourself even more in your thinking? Okay. Question 4, share with me your favorite stories, books, or texts this year. It could be something we read together or something you read on your own. Why did they stick with you? Why are they important to use next year? So I'm asking you about your favorite stories, your favorite texts, your favorite articles, because when I have my class next year, I want to make sure if you thought there was a story that was amazing, like thank you, ma'am, I want to keep that. If you really like Darnell Rocks, I want to keep that. If what stuck out to you was the I Am a Star, the Holocaust Diary, then I want to keep that. So I'm asking you guys to think about different stories that we've shared or that you've read on your own. Question 5, I love this one. If you had to give advice to the next class I will have, what kind of advice would you give them? What would you say? What do you think they should do? And then you're going to reread that advice and you're going to say, is that something that you did or is that something you regret not doing? That's a powerful one because every year I have so many people. Every time I ask this question, they say, I have all this advice. I would tell these kids to do this, to do this, to do this, to do this, to do this. And then I say, is that because you did that? Or is it because you realize you should have been doing that? And they go, I should have been doing that. So that question, what kind of advice would you give their class next year? And is that advice because you did that? Or is that advice because you learned the hard way? Okay, so something to think about. Question 6, think about the entire year to lessons you've learned. Whether they were in my class, Miss Stewart's class, Mrs. Alfano, or even Mr. Gill or Mrs. Hill. So number 6 isn't like a learning lesson, it's like life lesson kind of stuff. So something you learned about yourself, something you learned about friendship, something you learned about other people. Think about the entire year to those lessons you've learned around the school. What has changed your heart this year? What will you take away with you next year? So question 6 is not tell me something you learned, like for language arts. Question 6 is tell me something about life that you've learned from other adults around school. Could be in Ms. Sarasti's office, Mr. Gill's office, could be a deep conversation we had in my classroom, could be something Ms. Stewart talked about. But think about like a big picture life lesson you learned. That's question 6. And how has that changed you? How has that helped you grow? Okay. Number 7, this isn't a question to make you feel bad, but it's a question to make you think. There's no point in having regrets, but it's important to say, if you're the type of person who regrets your decisions, that tells you you need to change for next year. So this isn't a question that I'm sitting there going, oh yeah, tell me what you did bad. That's really important. Like if I sit down and I say to myself, I regret so much from this past school year. I should have done this. I should have done this. I should have done this. Okay, that might make me feel bad, but maybe I need that feeling to change for next year. And I have quite a few regrets. A lot of things, guys, from this past year I would have done differently. I felt like this was my best year teaching, but I felt like I lacked in a lot of ways. And it's okay to say that. It's okay to say, I think I was weak in these areas, but I'm going to really be motivated to fix that next year and to get better. Okay, so number 7 is not trying to make you feel bad, but you really need to think very carefully. Question 7 says, what would you have done differently in my classroom to be more successful? Why did you hold yourself back? If you have nothing you would have changed, please talk to me about how you were successful every day. What were your habits and what did you do? So question 7 is actually a question I want you to think about. Did you set yourself up for success in every way? Like, did you show up ready to go every day? Were you mentally there every day? Or some people might say, actually, I wasn't. Most of the time I was checked out. Most of the time I was thinking about other things. And what would you have done differently? I think that's the hardest thing is every August with my new class, I can see them not setting themselves up for success. And every time I see you guys have done something that takes away from your success, it drives me insane because I know we get to this time of the year and you guys are going to middle school or the next grade and you go, oh, I wish I would have. And I'm always trying to get you to see that before it happens. So question 7 is a little, it might be a little personal. It's so important to think about what would you have done differently to be more successful and why'd you hold yourself back? Participation, talking, distractions, what stopped you? Okay, and the last question, question 8. Question 8 isn't a question, it's just a thinking. Anything else you want to share with me is number 8. Number 8 says, please share with me any other thoughts, messages, or insights about language arts. Every year I give students this final exam to help me grow and change as a teacher. It has been an honor teaching you guys, and it has. Everybody I teach, I feel like it's such a privilege to be given a class of children, your parents to trust me, the school to trust me, to give you these skills that these are the skills you have for the rest of your life now. And every teacher is supposed to give you more skills. So it's always a privilege to teach, okay? But that's your final exam. Your final exam isn't, what does this word mean? Your final exam is get inside your brain, think about one question a day. I don't care if you answer the questions out of order. I don't care if you do number 3, then number 10, or number 3, then number 7, then number 1. I don't care if you save the hardest question last. I don't care if you say, Miss Hodges, I don't understand what this question means. I don't mind talking to you about your idea before you write. You can talk to your adult about these things, but some of these things are personal. So I would understand if you don't want to talk to your adult about, hey, I wasn't successful this year because I was goofing off. No one wants to say that. If that is you, I don't know. But these are all things that are important to think about moving forward. And if you have made poor decisions, I don't want to do that. I'm not doing this work. I don't really care. I'm not going to revise. I'm not really going to think about it. She says dig deep, but whatever. I'm just going to guess. All of these things are now going to impact you because it's those decisions every little day that add up. You know, when you guys watch famous athletes, when you watch famous performers, where was all that practice? All those little decisions before the fame, before the success. There was a lot of struggle that happened that we don't see. So think about your life in that way. Where is your struggle? Where is your mind in all of this? Because when you go to middle school, all the responsibilities on you guys, less support. You guys are only in classes for like 45 minutes and then switch. So how are you going to prepare yourself mentally for what's coming? You'll be able to handle it, but I think there's a lot of changes that still need to be made. Think about your success this year, celebrate that, but keep it going. Okay? So that's your assignment today. I want you guys to have your final exam. I want you guys to work on your final exam. I want to remind you that blue lessons on iReady are extra credit. So if you are working on your final exam and all your writing from last week is done, you don't have anything to catch up from last week, you could do some iReady. I also want to encourage you guys that the most powerful thing you can do is practice your skills just by reading a book. So maybe today you just really commit yourself to doing some read to self and thinking at a 5th grade level. To answer question 1, what is thinking at a 5th grade level? Get a real book, try it, and say, what am I doing? Because whatever you're doing here is the answer to question 1. All right, I'm going to hang out for a couple minutes and answer any questions you guys have. Because in 10 minutes, I'm going to put my hair up and then go to an interview. You guys can go ahead and type things if you have questions, but I'll repeat some things I said in the beginning. I'm not available for conferences because we have interviews back to back to back to back to back. Lewis made a good point. You can text me because while I'm doing an interview, I can look down, not really supposed to, but I can look down and open my phone or at least say, uh-oh, I need to talk to that person. They're struggling with something. See, got it right there. So any questions you guys have, throw them in here. Otherwise, today is your day to start your final exam, to work on your final exam, to go around your house and get any books that I've given you and make a pile so that when you get your belongings from Level, you can return my belongings to Level. And I'm not interested in you guys returning anything other than tablets that I loaned you and books. And if you can't make it to Level, then I will arrange something where we can swap. But that's super important, is that I give you your stuff and then you return those books to me. All right. All right. Questions. Did you see the revised work I sent you? Yes, I said multiple people send me photos over the weekend and Friday. Yes, I have it. Trackers haven't changed at all. So if that's why you're like, have you seen it? Trackers haven't changed. That's another reason I don't want you guys writing more if I've not been able to get feedback. I just need to finish the chart of the, yep, that was one piece of Friday's work, is to do that punctuation chart. So yep, you'll want to continue that work if you've not finished that. And then today is all about making sure everything from Friday is complete and turned in. And then you've got your final exam you can begin. It's due May 27, but it's a lot of thinking that you're going to have to do, a lot of reflecting. And then also think about some blue iReady for extra credit if that's you. Could you finish your work from last time? So what is due from last week, what's graded from last week is this. Participation is already on Skyward. So if your participation, your communication, your comments, your conference calls, all of that was your participation grade. Your punctuation chart from last week is going to just be a quick grade. Did you do it or not? If you did it, great, you get an A. If you didn't do it, sorry, you get a 0. Because I need to make sure people are actually doing work I put forward. But as long as you put in an effort, it's an A. And then you guys did your second trouble story. But when you turned in your second trouble story, Belinda and everyone else, I'm looking at how it's better than your first one. So if I read your second trouble story and you did none of the strategies I taught, that's not going to be a very good grade. So yep, finish your second trouble story. If you need to, go back and watch videos today because there's no new writing to do. Get the old writing done, start your final exam. Not going to Piedmont, it's okay. There's plenty of schools other than Piedmont that are fine. If I do iReady, can I get that A because I am 1 point from, the way iReady works for extra credit is I'm at the end of the month, I'm gonna go on iReady, I'm gonna look at every single person and I'm gonna click your name and it's gonna say what lessons you did. And if you passed a blue lesson, then you get some points. And that's how it goes. So again, Harmony, because I have to make rules that apply for everyone, I'll have to make a rubric. So if you get an A on an iReady Blue lesson, it'll be like 5 points of extra credit. If you get a B on an iReady Blue lesson, it'll be like 3 points of extra credit. And if you get a C, D, or an F on an iReady Blue lesson, well, an F is 0. But if you get a C or a 67 pass, then it'll be like 1 point of extra credit. So that's how the iReady extra credit works, is I'm going to go on at the very end of the month. I want to give you as much time as possible. And not green lessons. I'm going to say, okay, did they pass the blue lesson? What was the score? And then I'll give you points for every single one. Okay. And, oh, that was Angela that asked that, not Harmony. Sorry. So that's how it works. That's how the iReady extra credit will work. You got all month to work on it. Don't do like 10 hours of iReady, though. That's crazy. That's off the chain. If you can't go on iReady, it's okay. It's not a big deal. There was an extra credit project that some people did about identity. So you don't need to worry about iReady. It's just a nice option. So this day is like a catch-up day. You could think of it like that, but yeah, you can think of it like that, I guess. But you have a new final exam to really work on. So I don't know. Sure. All right, any other questions? I've got 5 minutes before I'm going to be interviewing. These are good questions. Anything else you guys need? It's on Google Drive. I'll go ahead and put that link in the chat again. And it's the 5th grade final exam. Again, you can type it or you can write it. I'm okay if you guys want to type your final exam and turn it in. You can always turn in your final exam early. You could do half of your final exam and then turn it in for feedback. You guys can do it any kind of way you want. But the final exam, the iReady Blue lessons, Those are really great opportunities to bring your grade up. I've got a lot of parents saying, what can I do? What can my kid, well, parents saying, what can I do? Nothing, it's your child. There's a lot of opportunities for you guys to make it happen. So I'm not giving a separate assignment, just iReady Blue lessons and get feedback on that final exam so you guys can improve it. Okay. Anything else? If you don't have anything else, then you're free to go. So I have multiple people here. You can just say bye on your way out. And then if I have a lot of people leave, then I'll just end the video chat. But I'm just sticking around because there's quite a few people here. I want to see any other questions. I'm not going to be available for calling today. Because I'm not available for calling today, your comment on this video is super important, isn't it? Make sure you comment every day on the video. And when you comment, you can't say, thanks, Ms. Hodges, or that was good, Ms. Hodges, or that's helpful, Ms. Hodges. You've got to give me something specific so I know you watched this video. Commenting is your participation today, or texting me. You guys have noticed I've been more flexible with commenting. If you've texted me like 10 times one day, I'm not going to say, well, you didn't comment on the video. I know you were working. We talked. All right. I'm not seeing anything. I got more people. Oh, man, even more. Any other questions about today? Final exam. You can write it. You can type it. You can talk to someone about it. Make sure when you are able to come to level, not yet, but when you're able to come to level and get your journal and all your belongings, that you trade me my belongings, please. I know I got a lot of books out there that are in the homes, which is awesome, but my kids next year need those too. All right, I don't have anything else. Like Lewis said, brilliant. Text me because I'll be doing interviews, so I'll be looking like this, all professional, but you guys can text me and I'll look to the side and then I'll be able to answer your question. Good luck on your final exam. Yes, I can text you that one. So we answer the questions on Google Drive. Okay, I answered that already. Okay, so I'm gonna open up the interview and I'm gonna text Juan because he asked me for his 3rd report card grade. You guys can text me, you guys can talk to each other. Don't forget that Zoom and phone calls and texts work between you guys. But that's it for today. Make sure everything is turned in from Friday. Get a jump on your final exam. Have a great day. Bye.